Welcome to Art of Wellness Unscripted, the podcast where we dive deep into holistic health, real conversations, and the journey to living your best, most vibrant life. I'm your host, Amara Tiller, and each week we'll explore the art and science of wellness with inspiring guests, expert insights, and practical tips you can use every day. Today we have a new guest. Would you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Yeah, good morning. My name is Dr. Karen Nelson, and I'm a board certified doctor of holistic health.
Could you give us a little background about what happened in your life to put you in the position to choose this career path?
Oh gosh, well, it was not an easy path at all. I actually kind of grew up sick. And I think there's a lot of people in our field that have gone through that experience where they spent most of their lives sick and they just weren't getting answers with conventional medicine. I actually started off, my first career was in the music business.
Okay.
And so I was managing heavy metal bands. I worked for a
Fun.
record company in New York City where I was doing publicity and had a TV show where I was interviewing really musicians from all over the world. And to be quite honest, I was living the lifestyle and getting sicker and sicker. And then I had a career change and I became a teacher in both the private and public sector. And I taught for about 9 years. And teaching is tough on the body. You know, you are on your feet all day. You're not allowed to really drink water unless, because they don't let you really take bathroom breaks during the day. So my health just continued to decline. And by the time I was married and had children, I was at an all time low. Here I had this amazing husband. I had these beautiful children. We had just moved back to Michigan from New York, New Jersey area, and I was sick. And depression runs in the one side of my family. And I'm telling you, I could almost see the depression rolling towards me. And it got to the point where I thought, I'm never going to be able to leave the house. I just don't feel good. And every time I turned to answers, I would sometimes literally get shrugged shoulders. Like, I don't know. I don't know. Your digestive system doesn't know how to work, or well, your levels aren't low enough, to warrant a prescription. And I was not natural health minded at all. I mean, I always did what we were told to do growing up. Um, so for me, I just remember it. I truly feel that it was sort of divine inspiration because I remember standing on my front porch and I said, God, if I knew what to do to fix my body, I would do it. And do you know, from that moment on, I started getting all of these signs about natural health. And I was like, there's something called a natural doctor, a nature doctor. I was like, what is this thing? And I was going to Subway, and there was a little herb shop next door. And it was curiosity, like, what is this place? And she had a biofeedback machine.
Oh, nice.
And she said, oh, for $50, I can do this test and it will tell you what your body needs. And I was like, really? Very skeptical. And I said, okay. So I had to come back and I had a little conversation. I always say I was very nervy back then. And I had a little conversation. I said, wow, God, if you want me to follow these signs that you're sending me, then I need help with these 4 things. And I walked in there, and within 5 minutes, she said, here's some paperwork. I don't want you buying anything. I went, oh, okay. She said, just read it over and see if anything resonates with you. And I looked down, and the exact same 4 things that I said I needed help with were right there on that piece of paper in front of me. And I remember just sitting there, and I said, you got me. Yeah. I'm yours. Work through me. However this works. Like, let's do this. And from that moment on, I discovered schools that actually taught natural health. And I signed up. And within, I think, 6-8 months, I was on my way to this incredible new career that really, when you think about it, it combined everything that I had done with my life. So there was no way that I could ever say, well, look at all the time that I wasted. No, it was a culmination of everything I had been doing. Sometimes it's kind of hard to sell natural health.
Oh, yeah.
Right? So I'm like, if I can sell a heavy metal band, I can sell natural health. Teaching. What do? We are
Yep.
all about educating people. And even right down to, you know, I remember times were desperate and I was selling a certain cosmetic company because I needed to make money. And even just being, sort of in sales or doing your own business, it just kind of came together for me. And I said, oh my gosh, my whole life, this is what I was working for. I just kept kind of going in the wrong direction,
Right.
but here I am. So I've been seeing clients now for a little over 10 years,
Nice.
and it is incredibly rewarding. It's just the best thing.
Where are you located?
In Bath.
Bath. Okay.
Yep. I actually just moved out there. Like we're
Nice.
going on maybe 3 months.
Okay.
And I just found a wellness studio to be part of called Birch Tree Wellness. And it's fantastic. The woman that I'm working for has got this amazing energy. From the second we met, we were like, oh my gosh, I love you. Because I had my own place in Eaton Rapids.
Okay.
And what I discovered when I was there working on my own was that I did not want to work on my own.
Okay.
It was like, my son was my receptionist at the time because he was doing school online. And when he went off to college, it was like, oh, I'm going to be here all alone. I was like, I want collaboration. Like my dream matched her vision, which was, let's put that center in the client in the center, and let's have all these beautiful minds coming together, sharing their passions, and just giving that client every single thing that they need.
Yeah.
And so when I discovered that was what she wanted to do, I was like, oh, let's do this.
Nice.
Like, let's do this. Let's make this happen.
Yeah.
So it's been a really exciting couple of months because I literally just got my office set up yesterday.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
What kind of services do you guys offer there?
So in terms of the Courtney, the owner, she's a massage therapist.
Okay.
And then she does have someone there, a holistic esthetician, who's there doing work. I know she has someone who comes in and does Reiki, and person also does some more of emotional work. And then there's me. So as a holistic doctor, of course, I see clients one-on-one and just try and help them both preventatively and to help deal with both their acute and chronic issues. I offer lymphatic drainage therapy, something that we call NeuroFlow, which is just a combination of energy work where we're trying to get in there and see if there's any energy blockages, but also if the cerebral spinal fluid is moving the way that it should. And then, of course, I do something called live blood auditing, and that's been really an exciting tool to help people. And then she's actually expanding. She's actually opening up next door, all in the next, government and permits and all this stuff, red tape, right? It's making things hard. But I've been, next door and behind, and I've seen what she's up to. And so she's actually going to be putting in like a wellness, it's like a coffee shop, but she also wants to have like healthy smoothies and healthy salads and food, and to kind of like help bring people in. She's expanding in the back, so there'll be a yoga room, a community room, all this stuff. Like I sold her my sauna, so that we can continue to have people using that. And she's like me, where she wants to get out into the community and she wants to just help people however we can. So so it's very exciting. I'm excited.
Well, when you're all set up, let me know and I'll come over. And I'm doing a new project where not only am I wanting to do podcasts with holistic health professionals, but I want to go to their practice and make video content showing what it's like.
Okay. I
feel like it helps like a normal Joe Schmo have a better understanding of like what this all is like.
Oh, absolutely. And in fact, the center that we're in, I said to her, it kind of looks like not much is going on in this center. She's like, I know, it needs to be updated. But her place, she's like an interior designer.
Oh, nice.
My room is in the forest room.
Oh, cute.
And it's got this fireplace, and you'd have to see it. You really have to see it because she just has it decorated so nice. And then she has the desert room, and she has the water room, and
cute.
So even like I had a pediatric client yesterday, and I was like, hey, we're gonna go into the water room for a little while, and she has starfish on the wall. Like, and it just feels good when you walk in there. It's really, really nice. So I'd love to have you come and see it.
Absolutely.
Show people, because we still have people going, wait, where are you? You've been here for 2 years?
Right, in Bath.
Yeah. I didn't even know where Bath was. And I come from like this little town where nobody knew where that was either.
Mhm.
So when we were looking for houses, we were looking for a certain area, and we couldn't find a house there that met our needs. And so all of a sudden, this house popped up, and I was like, "Bath." I'm like, "Where is that?" I mean, in here, I mean, I had lived in West Lansing for, I don't know, 15 years, and we bought the house because we kind of fell in love with the house and the neighborhood and the people. And we got over there. I was like, wait a minute, I'm 10 minutes from downtown Lansing. I'm 10 minutes from, uh, well, I think we're more like 20 minutes from West Lansing and Okemos or
Mhm.
Williamston and, all of these bigger towns, and DeWitt, like 10 minutes from
Yeah.
DeWitt. And so I'm having the time of my life because I'm an empty nester. My husband and I moved the kids to college. I think, yeah, going on like 2 weeks.
No.
And
Wow.
I was like, what am I going to do without my babies? Well, I got to be honest. I'm actually having fun exploring and doing things and being
Yeah.
part of a community and meeting people and doing things like this.
Yes.
So it's a good time. It's a
Love
good
that.
time to be Dr. Karen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So tell us more about the live blood analysis. What have you tried any experiments with it?
Oh yes.
That's what I'm so excited to
Yeah,
hear.
yeah. So now first, for legal reasons,
Yes,
I
the
call it
disclosure.
I call it live blood auditing.
Okay.
So unfortunately, we have been told, maybe we know, that certain keywords aren't liked. That
Mhm.
maybe, and if I'm wrong, I would love to know that I'm wrong. But we
Mhm.
were kind of told that the AMA kind of felt that they owned that word, analysis.
They
That
can have
maybe
it.
it's,
Let them have it.
I know, right? So I'm gonna call it auditing because,
Yeah.
like with anything with natural health, I mean, look, I'm sticking to my lane. I'm not diagnosing.
Mhm.
I'm not saying, oh, we're gonna cure you. Um, that's not even my role. I'm a facilitator,
Mhm.
and so yeah. So going back to that, so now that we've cleared up the legal mumbo jumbo, so we don't get in trouble. So I came across the live blood auditing because you're studying this, right?
Mhm.
So it's all about what we call triangulation. Trying to find what does the body keep telling us again and again and
Mhm.
again. Look here. Don't worry about your toe right now. Do you know what I mean? I want you
Mhm.
to focus on these areas. And it can get tricky because with some of the assessments that we do, right, we look at a person's face and we're seeing things in the eyes and we're seeing certain markings on the face. And we're like,
Mhm.
okay, well, that narrows it down to 15 things, you know?
Right.
And with a lot of those assessments, I find, and I don't know if you have as well already, that sometimes people almost think it's a parlor game.
Yeah.
Because they're like, oh, tell me, what do you see in my eyes?
Right. Yeah.
And you're like, no,
They
no.
like withhold information.
Yes.
Yes, because they're
Right,
like,
right, right,
"Will
right.
she get it right?" Yeah.
Right. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And then even with muscle response testing, which is just a reflex test,
Mhm.
right? It's just the brain and the muscles communicating. Again, you're like, well, can you see if I'm going to find love over the next year? And I'm like, okay, that's not what we're here to do. And I literally have had people ask me that, and then
Mhm.
they get upset, you know. Um, and then testing urine and saliva.
Mhm.
And I felt like, oh, this is going to be it. I'm going to test their urine and saliva, and I'm going to be able to see if their sugar's too high or their salts are too high, their undigested protein. People don't care.
Mhm.
I was like the wizard going behind the curtain with all my chemicals, and I'd be like, oh, here's what, oh, right? And I'm like, why are they not getting it?
But they're used to blood drawn.
Mm-hmm.
They're used to that.
And the second they see their blood live,
Yep.
moving
You can't
on the
argue.
big screen,
Yeah.
I mean, it's a showstopper.
Yeah.
That blood is like a publicity hawk. He's like, look at me. Like people are entranced.
Mhm.
And I just found it fascinating because you can see so much in one drop of blood.
Yeah.
I mean, we're talking thousands of blood cells. And again, when you start seeing things and then looking at the person from whence it came,
Mhm.
you can start saying, now, did you see how when we were talking about this and this and this and this, how this kept coming up? What do you think?
Mhm.
And it just seems to kind of wake people up a little bit. I've even had nurses come in and they're like, I have never in my life experienced this.
Yes.
I mean, this is cool. It's scary,
Mhm.
and it does seem to be a bit of a wake up call, for people.
Yeah.
I know for me, when I went out to train, Now, I had been on a diet and I had lost a lot of weight. Was it the healthiest diet? I thought it was, okay, but it was really low in fat.
Ah.
And but I felt great. And I went out, I was in my training, and I'm not kidding you. Sometimes I feel like these experiences happen, they definitely
Yes.
can't happen for a reason.
Yeah.
And I went out there and I walked in and I'm thinking, stand back, everybody. You're about to see the holistic doctor's blood. Like, this is going to be, they're going to put my blood on the big screen. Like, this is the most perfect blood. And then they showed us, okay,
Mhm.
here's what it should look like, right? So beautiful round cells, almost like bubbles, like if
Mhm.
you like had a bubble wand, right? Beautiful round. And then they said, then you're going to see a center, which is almost like a donut with a jelly filling, and that's the hemoglobin, so the oxygen will be attracted to that. And they should all be moving freely, and they'll bounce off of each other,
Mhm.
because of the different charges that they have, right? Positive, negative.
Mhm.
And this is, and get ready for it. And my blood came up on the screen, and I think the word might be shame.
Embarrassed. Yeah.
Like, turn it off. I was horrified at what,
It was all
and
clumped together.
betrayed. I was so betrayed. What am I seeing?
Right.
And it looked, and now I know the term for it is called blood sludge.
Ooh.
Oh yeah, lovely, like lovely term.
Yeah.
And it almost looked like, I call it like the rotini pasta,
Oh wow.
because my blood cells were just clumped together. So there was no oxygen moving
Mhm.
freely throughout my body. My body wasn't getting nutrients, right? And we
Mhm.
know, we know that without enzymes, well, there go the vitamins, the minerals, the hormones,
Mhm.
everything. So I had to take a step back and I was like, okay, perhaps this diet isn't working for me. Perhaps it's a short term fix. Do you know what I mean? Rather
Mhm.
than the long term
Right.
fix. And in addition to my blood sludge, um, there were things in the plasma of the blood that looked like something out of a horror movie. And the woman looked at me and she said, so, and she kind of gave me the side eye. She's like, have you gotten any shots?
Oof.
How dare you? No. She said, well, it looks like it.
Oh my goodness.
So that's a whole interesting conversation,
Yeah.
because despite what some people think, natural health is based in science.
Mhm.
And I was never going to be the person who went out there and put on my tinfoil hat and said, you know, here's what happens.
Right.
Right.
Mhm.
When you're looking at your blood,
Right.
it's
You
like
can't argue with this.
you
Yeah.
can't argue with it.
Yeah.
And so I made some changes, and she even said, well, you need to be on a digestive enzyme. And I said, I am on a digestive enzyme. And she matched my indignity, and she was like, well, clearly not a good enough one.
I'm about to take some today now.
Okay. And so I made a few changes.
Mhm.
And because I was in that class, like normally they say, stay away for like 4 months. That's when all your red blood cells are going to, be regenerated. It's like a fresh batch.
Okay.
But because I was in the class, it was like, oh,
Right.
how about 48 hours? And
That's figured
just the small amount of changes that I made within 48 hours, I could tell,
Oh wow.
whew,
Yeah.
some of that sludge was starting to
Okay.
kind of loosen up a little bit. And I
Mhm.
went, okay. So I'm not going to lie. Typically, I do not stay away from my blood for 4 months. It's kind of like, how about today after sound therapy? How about today after
Yes.
meditation? How about, you know what I mean?
Yes.
So I'm like all about like, hey, can we get some guinea pigs in here? I wanted to see
Yeah.
what was happening.
Yeah.
So some things are really cool when you go, oh, is there a correlation between that? And then other things aren't so cool.
Mm.
Like other things are concerning that
Yeah.
you see in the blood.
Mhm.
But yeah, primarily when you're doing live blood auditing, there's 3 or 4 different areas that you're looking at. So how are the red blood cells changing shape? If they're not the perfect bubble, what shape are they in? And that tells you a lot. You can see white blood cells, platelets, and then, like I said, everything sort of in the background. So what is a perfect scenario? What I always try and tell the people who come in to get this done: hold off on eating for about 6 hours.
Okay.
Because that should create a clear background.
Okay.
If someone comes in and they have fasted for at least 6 hours and that background looks like snow is falling, we have some dirty blood happening. And so that's when it's usually like, okay, recommendation number one, I would suggest a proteolytic enzyme to help just kind of clean up that blood, clean up the background. And usually people right there will feel better. But yeah, there's lots of different things that can happen. I mean, I have a chart that I usually use. And the way that we do it is, once we get it up there on the screen, I give them a copy of the chart and I have my own. And I'm like, let's go. And I kind of market it almost as like, let's take a journey
Together
through your listener. And I'm like, and they have theirs. And I'm like, what do you say? I'm like, look at this, look at that. And I'm like, what is that? And it's just this beautiful, way of educating one another. Like, we both gain from it, because I don't think anybody should ever say that they're like an expert in anything when it comes to health, because I feel like there's always something new. But like, we'll see sometimes, and you're always looking you want to look throughout the whole slide. You're moving it all around, because you don't want to just like with anything, right? You don't want to just pounce on one thing that you see. You're looking for, is this a common situation that we're seeing?
Okay.
So some red blood cells can be big, some can be small, but are the majority, like, are we seeing more that are big or more that are small, or some that even look like a little bullseye? And we're like, okay, if we see a lot of those, is the body getting the nutrients that it needs to hold on to the oxygen or to hold on to the iron? And then we talk, and again, we're always looking like, do you experience any of these issues? We're looking for confirmation.
Yeah.
There are times that we will see things that'll almost look like there's a little line in the red blood cell. And sometimes it appears that it's squiggly.
So a parasite, perhaps?
It could be a parasite, because I've had people say to me, can you, like, I had this woman and they had, she had been to all these other doctors and they had ruled out everything. And they were like, the only thing we can think of is parasite. I said, well, the only way I've been told that we can ever possibly catch them is doing a dried sample, which is a whole different thing. But I will tell you, when we were looking at her blood, we sat there and we looked, and it was the strangest thing, because she had all these health issues and her blood looked pretty good. And then all of a sudden I remember seeing something and she went, what is that? And I was like, I'm going to be honest with you, I don't know. Ooh. I've never seen that. Ooh. And when I tell you that if it wasn't alive, it looked alive. And I swear to you, it slithered.
I believe you.
And it looked at me. We were both like, ah! You know what I mean? It was kind of crazy.
Yeah.
So yeah. But so what else? So sometimes you'll see the blood cell will change, almost like someone sort of like pinched it on either side, and they call it almost like a horned appearance. So sometimes we'll get into, are your hands and feet cold? Do you have any circulation issues? Is there maybe something vascular going on? So just because, it's pinched, right? So it's just not getting what it needs. I think probably, because of the move and just finding my office, I have not looked at my blood in a few months. And I have a feeling that if I were to look at it like tomorrow, I'd probably see a lot of oval shaped red blood cells, because that's usually like, hormones. And I know, like, menopause is doing its best right now to just give me a run for the money. And I'm like, yeah, okay. you know.
Mhm.
But even like when we are going through this experience and we kind of know, it also makes you feel good in a way when you're looking at it, you're like, oh, look at that, it is the hormones,
Right. Yeah.
that's making me crazy.
Mhm.
um let's see what else.
You do. I remember seeing a video of like a live blood analysis after someone's exposed to a smart meter.
Okay.
That to me was like, because I feel like how else can you really like prove, like the damage it's doing to the body
Now I'm
besides
curious,
that?
like what did it show in the video?
It showed that the cells and whatnot were clumped together. So
Okay,
they
okay.
weren't looking like oil and water free
Right,
flowing. So
right.
they were just,
Clumped.
yeah.
Okay. I'm almost surprised they didn't have what they call like ghost or shadow cells, and it'll literally look like it's. I mean, ghost and shadow cell is really the best way. I mean, it's like the perfect name for it because it almost looks like it's transparent,
Mm.
and then you will see it, and all of a sudden it goes, and it disappears.
What the frick?
Uh huh. And it's
And that's like in the presence of EMF that's happening, or just like in general it happens?
well, in general,
Okay.
it can happen, and that's when you know that you're looking at someone who is chronically sick
Oh, wow.
and their red blood cells, they're literally just dying. I mean, they're all going to die,
Right.
okay?
But at that
But
rate.
a lot of times, what we'll see is we'll see almost like pieces of that red blood cell.
Okay.
It's just like fragments,
Mm-hmm.
and you'll see it in different forms. And when you first see it, you're like, oh no, what is that? And then you're like, okay, well, I mean, it's a circle of life, right? Things are going to happen. But when you see a cell that, for all intents and purposes, looks like it was a healthy blood cell and it just disappears, it's kind of scary.
Yeah.
I mean, not scary, but it's just concerning.
Spooky.
I guess it's concerning.
Yeah.
And then they shared something with me that I don't know, it just made me sad because they said one of the things you want to look at is how is that person's mental health? Like, are they really depressed and have they given up on life?
So that'll impact
Yeah.
the will.
Yes.
Okay.
So it's almost like, have they lost the will?
Yeah.
And is that why their red blood cells are dying?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's, luckily, I haven't seen anyone where they've had a lot, but I have seen it, and you always have that moment where you just kind of turn to that person, and sometimes you're like, you know, hey, I'm really glad that you're here today and that I met you and that we're spending this time together. And I want you to know that I'm here for you and we're going to get you there. And, you just try to inspire them because I know my family's been rocked by suicide.
I just lost my dad last November to it.
Oh, so sorry.
It's been the hardest thing I've ever had to navigate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I always say I don't wish it on my worst enemy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I lost both my brother and my nephew. And it's tough. So it's one of those, like I said, it's like if I ever saw that, it's just like you just kind of go, okay, well, we know what our focus is today.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care about the hormones.
Right.
I don't care about the hormones
Yeah.
right now. Let's talk about, just how are you doing? So yeah, so that's some of the many things, that you can see that the way that the red blood cells will change. And then of course you've got the white blood cells, which are so cool because, and by the way, there are some people who, when they do the audit, they have these little, like, I call them like little clicky machines. It's not the scientific name for them, but they will sit there and they're click. Oh, there's a this kind of blood cell. There's this white blood cell. There's this one. And they're counting it.
Yeah.
I don't have time for that.
Right.
Like that's just not my interest. I'm like, let's just go and get a CBC, complete blood count, and just have them do that. I'm like, I'm trying to get that overall picture.
Right. Let's do what they can do.
But we do know that for every 700 red blood cells, there should only be one white blood cell. So when you're going through this slide, and if you see there's one, there's one, there's one, there's one, there's one, it's like, okay, now wait a minute. I'm not going to sit here and count, but I'm pretty darn sure that we haven't seen 700 red blood cells right here, and there's 5 white blood cells. So, and we can look at that and say, well, is that a good or a bad thing? On one hand, what have you been exposed to? Because the white blood cells are going to show up when your body's been exposed to something. So that's a good thing, right?
It's doing its job.
Right.
It's also indicating.
Right. Yeah. Now, here's where it gets interesting now. Because is the white blood cell just sitting there? You know, because when I first started looking at it, I was like, and it's so cool. White blood cells are so cool to look at. And you're looking at them and you're like, oh, it's so beautiful and perfect and round. And it's just sitting there. And I apologize to all the law enforcement agencies, people involved out there, but I always say it's like a cop at the donut shop. You're like, what are you doing? Mm-hmm. Why are you sitting there? Don't you see that abnormal shaped red blood cell? Like, go get him. Yeah. And it's like, I'm on break. And that's not a good thing, because then you have to say, why are my white blood cells not active? So what's really cool is when you get one and you can see it, and you can see all the little granules inside, and they're moving around, and then you'll start to see it like stretch out, and it'll move this way and that way, and you can see, you're like, oh, I bet it's headed there. And that was one really cool thing when I was in training. I saw it encircle this damaged red blood cell. It was, you know, yeah. And so it was eating that damaged red blood cell. Yeah. So it's always funny how you're like, yeah, it got him. And then you're like, wait a minute, what's it getting? You're like, well, I'm glad, but what's going on in there? You know? So that's really, really neat, you know, when you see that. And then some of the white blood cells will have different appearances. Some of them will be really bright. And you're like, okay. Let's talk about allergies. Let's talk about food sensitivities. Let's, you know, because those guys usually show up when the body is reacting to something that it considers to be like a toxin or a poison, you know. And then you have, and then of course, you know, so most of the time when you see the white blood cell, you're going to see like these dark areas inside of the white blood cell. That's the nucleus. Okay. And so you're always like, okay, we don't want to see more than 5 nuclei. That's fine. But then you'll see other white blood cells where it looks like they're almost all nucleus, right? And that's a different type of white blood cell. And those tend to be like your B and your T cells. So those guys are going to show up when there's a chronic issue that shows. Okay. So personally, I really don't want to see those guys, you know? Right. Knock on wood, you know, haven't. Platelets, you know, we all want platelets, you know, I mean, the second we cut our finger, you know, we want that, you know, rush to it, close up that wound. But if we see like a mass of platelets, then we're like, why is my blood clotting? Yeah. You know? And I've just seen certain environmental things where we start asking questions, and I'm like, your blood is responding to this. Like it's massing. It's like calling in the troops, and it's creating, you know, and they go, what do you mean like blood? Like the blood is clotting. And I'm like, blood clots, you know, and they're like, well, that's not good. I'm like, no, it's really not, you know, so let's work on that health. You know, there can actually be what looks like crystals. Oh, like somebody just threw a couple of gemstones in there. And I'm all about crystals outside of my body, but you know, when we think about it, though, we don't want them. We don't want it in our blood, right? Because if you think about how small a capillary is, you know, like I'll say to people, like, okay, if you have like a straw and then you have a gem, it's like the blood's trying to get, you know, the blood wants to move around. Like, how's it going to do that, right? But they'll take on like different shapes and sizes even. So sometimes you'll see something small, still not good, but then you'll see some that are really, really big. And it can just sometimes be like, I think if it's like trapezoidal or um, just kind of pokey
Mhm.
corners, that can be tied into fat breakdown, cholesterol.
I was gonna ask.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
it's definitely a lipid issue.
Makes me think of learning about how chlorine and like tap water will like scar the inside, and that like makes has a role in cholesterol, right? Like high cholesterol. I
Yeah.
feel like I remember learning.
Oh, well, and then going back to the red blood cells, so there's some that will actually look like bottle caps,
Huh.
and some that look like sort of like that bottle cap on steroids.
Uh-huh.
And those are the ones where you can tell that the body's been exposed to some kind of a chemical, a prescription drug, um, street drug, So that's where, you were saying like, oh, have I done any experimenting?
Yeah.
Well, I want to, because, and it's not even like, from a place of judgment,
Just curiosity.
but I'm just curious,
Yeah.
like, hey, okay,
What's going on?
certain things have been legalized.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Let's look at the blood and see. Because if this is helping our body, should it really be making our red blood cells freak out?
Ooh, are you talking about cannabis?
Yes.
Whoa.
Like I would love. Here's my
I'll
call to
be your
action.
guinea pig.
Here's my call to action. Come on, potheads, come on and see me. Like I want to see your blood. I'm just curious.
Yeah.
And hopefully it doesn't, right? I mean,
Right.
hopefully we still see these beautiful, happy cells. But is it doing something that we're not aware of?
Right.
Like short term, long term.
Yeah.
Um, and then even with prescriptions, sometimes you're looking at somebody and you're like, well, you're on such and such prescription, so that's why the cell is looking like this. And look, I don't take anybody off of prescriptions.
Right.
That's not for me to do. And look, there are certain things, like I tell my clients, sometimes they'll get super bummed. Oh my gosh, I gotta go in this antibiotic. I go, hey, look, it got a head start on you. There's nothing wrong with it. It got a head start. Okay. So let the big guy wipe it out and then we replenish you. Not a big deal. Come in with a probiotic. Right? Certain conditions, like I said, if it's gotten, a head start on you. But at least let's look at the blood and see what it's doing, because going back to what's in the plasma, so some of these crystals will actually become square in shape, and when they become square in shape, that can then show there's something going on mentally. Anxiety, depression, things like that. And then if any of those crystals take on some vivid colors, that's when you're looking at chemicals.
Okay.
So where's that chemical coming from? Vaping.
Ooh.
I mean, I don't know about you. I see everybody out on the street and they've got their, and I'm like, and like I said, I was in the music business, honey. So, I had fun.
The vaping is just,
but
I work for a durable medical equipment company, and we do things like CPAP machines and ventilators. And so when the script comes in from the doctor, it'll have the diagnosis codes. And I just the other day saw a vape related disorder diagnosis code.
Okay.
So somebody, and he was like a 24-year-old,
right,
needing CPAP and help with breathing.
Wow.
Oh
Yeah. I know I've had teenagers come in, and even like the biofeedback felt, has been like, oh, here's all these chemicals that are showing up in your body. I'm like, what? Why does this 16-year-old have all these chemicals? And you're like, wait a minute. Oh no. And you're like, yeah, are you sure? Like,
Yeah.
And then you find out, sure enough, and sometimes they're like, well, but I got a new this or got a new that. And I'm like, honey, it doesn't matter. There's just certain things our body says this is considered toxic poison, and
Yeah.
It's just not good. And, you know, so, but then at the same time, I will tell you, I've had people go, wow, oh, it's so pretty. Look at the colors. And I'm like,
That's
oh,
not a good
no,
thing.
no, it's not pretty. You don't want that. It's not supposed to be there. We need to make changes, get rid of it. Um, the scary thing though that I saw in my blood that first day was what they call fibrin, and
Ooh.
it looks like spider webs. It looks like spider webs, and it's liver toxicity.
Okay. Ah.
And that's what I'm saying. Here I went in like on my high horse, and I was humbled fast.
Yeah.
And I was like, what? I've done all this work on my
Right.
liver. I mean, I used to be sarcastic and angry, and I'm like, but I do all this work. I do all this self work. And why is my liver? Well, because think about it, if I'm on this diet that's making the fat cells just go away, where are the toxins going?
Yeah.
Because the fat cells are the jail cells of the body. So here's all these toxins, and they're probably there, and they're clearly having a party.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until I saw the blood that I went, oh, wait a minute. This is my body's not keeping up with this. And slowly, I mean, over the next 4 months, making the changes that I made, I was relieved. I was like, oh my gosh, that's gone. So that's the other thing too. People need to, it can be a little nerve wracking, when you go in, but then to know this is like this, your body is so cool. It's self-healing, and it will regenerate. It will take care of itself if you just listen to it, you know. Um, so it's been, like I said, it's just been fascinating, this process of looking at people's blood and learning from it. And
How long have you been doing the blood?
I was thinking about that the other day. I think it's been about 4 years. Yeah, because I remember I went and trained for it when I still had my place out in Eaton Rapids, and I think that's been about 3, maybe 4 years. I'm terrible with dates. I'm always saying to my husband, like, when did this happen? When did that happen? So yeah, I think it was about 3. Yeah, because my son was a senior in high school and he's a junior in college now. So
Have you seen a difference between people coming in that received the COVID vaccine, or is everyone looking the same?
You want to get me in trouble?
I know. I'm sorry. I'm like,
okay. So here's what I've seen. So and I do. I joke around because I say, I don't want to be that conspiracy. Yeah, but here's the deal. For this person, so when I went into training, it was right. Let me think about this. It had to have been in the tail end of it, because when I signed up for the classes, they sent out a notice and they said, "Hey, we want to know who's gotten it or not."
okay.
And I thought, "Oh, this is so cool.
Yeah.
We're gonna get to see people who have had it and people who haven't, and we can really see, like cross reference the two." So I wrote the person back and I said, I didn't have the COVID shot. And so unfortunately I can't help out, with the study kind of a thing.
Right.
I was like all naive, because he wrote me back and he was like, good, I'll let you in the class. Yeah.
So if someone's teaching the classes that strongly, that's saying.
Yeah. I thought,
what? Maybe chills.
Yeah. Because I'm thinking, like, this is what these people do
Yes.
all day long. I mean, when we got there and we learned about their backgrounds, I mean, they weren't doing anything else. Like, that was their focus. Yeah. And I'm thinking, okay, you're looking at blood all day long. What are you seeing? Yeah. And so that's why when that woman looked at me and she went, because is it this way, right? I've been vetted, right? And so then she was like, almost like, did you sneak in here? And I was like, what? No. So she said, and she pointed out to me that fibrin, like those spider webs, was very common. And I had a few crystals. Okay. And then there was something where she said, I don't even know what this is. I have pictures of it. Well, hopefully I still have the pictures. Where, I mean, it was just weird. Like, it was just, okay, that doesn't that's not on my sheet. It's not on my sheet
Right.
of possibilities. Like, what is this thing in my blood?
Yeah.
And she just looked at me. She was really concerned. And so, started cleaning up my own mess. And that was the first question when I came back. That's what everybody wanted to know. I was honest with them. I said, listen, I've not looked at enough blood,
Right.
to put two and two together. Um, what I can tell you and what I do feel confident in saying that there is a difference in the blood between people who had the shot, between the people who had the shot and many boosters, and the people who didn't.
Yeah.
So, did I see differences in people in a lot of other areas? When we were doing different assessments, yes. But in the blood, I absolutely did. And so, I guess the best term would be dirty.
Yeah.
It just looked dirty, but there was always a lot of fiber and always a lot of liver stress, lots of platelet aggregation, and weird things.
Yeah.
And so I thought, okay, that's all terrible. And sometimes, and again, I don't care what you do, right? I don't care what you do. Get your shot, don't get your shot. Just
Right.
don't worry about my immune system either.
Right.
Because I always feel like I am, and I mean, and I don't know about you, but COVID really, it affected my family,
Oh, yeah.
and the dynamics, because
Oh yeah.
I was the only one.
Same.
Well, my husband and children, and they just couldn't understand. Why aren't you getting this? And I even remember an argument where someone in my family that I love very much said to me, like, almost like, you won't do this for me.
Oh yeah.
Like, you're
Selfish.
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, like I was selfish, like that I wouldn't do this for them.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm thinking, you have no idea. Like, every day I work on my health.
Mm-hmm.
Every single day I do something to work on my health. Whether it's, choosing salad over the brownie.
Yeah.
Whether it's meditation, whether,
Mhm.
just learning to love myself,
Yeah.
you know, finding my life purpose, like every day, whether it was physical, emotional, structural, going to a chiropractor, I always did something daily for my health. And I thought, you think I'm being selfish? What have you done?
Mm-hmm.
What are you doing for your health? And again, normally I wouldn't care. Do whatever you want, but don't come at me, And did I get COVID? Yes, I did. And it was a horrible 8 days. And I remember it was triggered because we had finally gone on vacation and we had gotten a little beach house at South Haven. And we had been wanting to do this for years. And when we finally got there, the flags were up, the red flags. They were like, you're not getting anywhere near that water. It was crazy. Last day, right before we're scheduled to leave, woohoo, we can get in the water. And we sat out there like 7 hours. I was so sunburned.
Oh.
And I think that's it was like my body was just, because I remember I had a little bit of a sore throat, and I was like, oh, am I getting a cold? And I was like, oh, come on, we're on vacation
Right.
for the next 3 days. And I was feeling a little, like, oh, I'm getting a little something, But then when was so sunburned, I mean, I was red, 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 red. And I think my immune system was like, and we're off.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, it was a rough 8 days, but I got through it, and no one else in my family got it. And since then, to our knowledge, nobody's ever gotten it.
Yeah, I had it a few times. Actually, the first time I got it is what made me Well, it's because it was when like COVID first started and all the doctors were afraid of everybody, so they weren't seeing anyone then, right?
Yeah.
And so I couldn't go to a doctor. And I reached out to my woo woo friend and I was like, hey, my heart hurts. I have COVID. It's actually really scaring me. I don't know what to do. And she's like, you should reach out to my cousin. She's a holistic practitioner. And I'm like, I've never even heard of that. And she's like, you know what quantum entanglement is. So she does remote muscle testing. It involves quantum entanglement. She goes, just trust me on it. I'm like, well, I have nothing else.
Right.
So let's do it. And she muscle tested me and recommended these certain supplements. And I remember within like 2 days of taking those supplements, the pain in my heart completely went away.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like freaking me out. I was a little scared.
About how powerful it was?
Oh, how like what I was experiencing.
Yeah.
I was like, this is.
Oh yeah. I mean, like I said, it was a horrible 8 days. And I remember at one point thinking, have I been stupid here? You know, because I mean, you know, the headache for me.
Right.
I had the headache. Where it was like,
the brain fog
somebody's crushing my head, you know. And I was like, thank you for letting me have my own place, because I went and I rated all of my stuff that was on my shelves, and I was muscle testing and like, what do you need? What do you need? What do you need? And I think at one point my body was like, enough with the homeopathics. Just go to sleep and let us do the work. And yeah, and I came out of it. But I had a cousin of mine down in Florida, and she grew up with really, really bad allergies, and I'm pretty sure she had asthma. And I remember I had recommended a product, homeopathic, to strengthen the lungs. And she said, I need something, you know. So I recommended that. And she called me up. She's like, my lungs are crackling. And I was like, oh no, I've killed her. And she said, oh, it was amazing. I went, oh.
Is it like layers of like,
yeah, she said, I just feel like it was just getting in there. And I think it was called, so I had two different ones. I think one was like lung support and one might have been lung repair or something like that. But it was basically, she said, I felt like it was just getting in there and just, you know, getting the junk out and repairing it. And she said, I will not live without having that in my medicine cabinet.
Nice.
Yeah. And she's like, and I'm giving it to everybody. Like, everybody gets a bottle, right? You know. And I was like, oh, okay. You know, and I do remember I kind of did refer to it as like, that is like my COVID. That's
like remedy.
Yeah. Like that's going to be my COVID remedy for anybody who's experiencing it here. You know. And the thing is, I mean, look, when that whole thing went down, obviously all of my clients were coming to me and they were like, what do we do? What do we do? And I said, well, here's the thing. Number one, we don't know what this thing is at this point. I said, so we do what we've been doing. I said, which is, I kind of gave them the analogy. I said, we've been in boot camp and now we're going to war.
Yeah.
And I said, and so you have to go to your toolbox and say, we're going to eat good food. We're going to drink good, clean water. We're going to keep working, breathe, you know, on the emotions, you know, work through this and do whatever energy work you can do. And this is what we do. We turn to our toolbox. And I didn't have any clients that got COVID for a long time. And the ones that did were the ones that recovered quicker. Like they'd say, you know, people in my house, like there was like 4 of us, and I got better within a week. And they're still sick after like 3 weeks or whatever. And I was like, you know, and it's not like you know, I mean, I don't wish ill on anyone. I don't want anyone to stay sick for 3-4 weeks. But it's just a matter of,
it's just showing.
Right. Yeah. Like you know.
There's something there.
And, you know, that's why I thought it was so sad, because, you know, when those preliminary reports seemed to start coming in, it was like the people who unfortunately are not pulling through, you know, are the people who had, you know, issues with sugar.
Yes.
Or issues with their kidneys. Like I actually, I lost, he was a great friend of mine. I was still in Jackson at the time, and I was just renting a room at this office. And I just loved Scott. I mean, he was just a joy. Every time you saw him, it was like, I know I'm going to get a good belly laugh. And I remember seeing him on a Thursday. And then I got a phone call that Sunday and they said he had passed. And I was like, what? And this was February.
Was
of
it put on a
2019.
ventilator?
Oh, yeah.
With remdesivir? Run death is near, I guess.
And they said, and all I knew from his partner was that they had tested him. They said, oh no, they tested him for that new thing and he didn't have it. But they were trying everything. And he did have a pre-existing heart condition. And he passed away. And it was, so to this day, I think there's no way he didn't have it.
Right.
You know, it just, you know, because I know like when I got it, I didn't need to go and get a test because, you know, when you're sick, and listen, Dr. Google, my head is throbbing. What are the, you know, I'm like, check. I'm like, oh no, you know? So, that was another thing, you know, like for me personally, I'm like, I'm not into invasive things. You know, I mean, that little poke of the finger, that's as invasive as it gets.
Now for that, do you have to have where they poke themselves, like legally?
So it varies from state to state.
Okay.
You know, I know with mine, they have that option. Do you want to do it? You know, if you want me to do it, you're going to sign a waiver.
Okay. That's how you get it. Okay.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Like you sign that waiver saying, you know, and then we'll do that, you know. And they, yeah, there's always waivers involved, you know. But what's cool, and I didn't even mention earlier, so what's neat though is we start learning from the second that lancet, because there's different lancets that you can use. My pediatric, she wouldn't let me get anywhere near yesterday, you know, because the mom was like, please let her do it, please let her do it.
Oh,
you know, I told her she, you know, and I said it's gentle, you know, because there's some that are a little more hardcore, like say if you got a guy coming in, he was like a farmer or something, you know, the callous hands or whatever. But so with the lancet, and then you take the lancet away, and then it'll get a bead of blood, hopefully.
Ooh.
Hopefully. So if you don't get that bead of blood, you're like,
it's a concern.
What's going on?
Yeah.
Right? Because shouldn't
right.
you
got a sludge problem going
right?
on.
Yeah. Like what's going on?
Yeah.
Because we always wipe away that first.
Yeah.
Well, because I go, oh, I don't want the ones who are going to yell at me. Like, hey, you hurt me. You know, so we wipe it away, and then we watch, and it should bead up. And if it doesn't, I call it the red ball test, and that's usually like, what's going on with the protein?
Yeah.
Are we not getting enough protein? Are we not assimilating our protein? Like, what's going on? You know, because you always want them to come in, like I said, hydrated. You know, as well. And then they'll go, well, here, let me kind of push. And I go, no. We're not going to milk that finger. Like we need to see what the body does on its own. And so that right there. I mean, so sometimes you're like, well, here we go. We don't even have to go so far. Like we've already learned something. You know, that your body needs help bringing in nutrients.
So when you're cleaning up the blood, recently I've been taking sarsaparilla and it's helped me so much. Are you only giving like homeopathics, or what did you say that you recommend to clean the blood up?
A lot of times like proteolytic enzymes.
Okay.
You know, it's like nattokinase.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah. And that seems to do a pretty good job.
Nice.
You know, usually I'll say, I'll take whatever it recommends for, you know, a month. And then we're not supposed to, you know, like every 4 months, I'm like, well, if you want, you know, we can take a look at it again and see if it, you know, because I know over this last summer, so we moved, there's all these amazing trails by the house, and I've got this dog that we rescued who just tries my patience, and he needs tons of exercise, which is awesome. So we're going on these trails, and I'm noticing the mosquitoes are vicious. And then I look, and it's like my mosquito bite was like, what? Like huge. And I'm like, oh, guess who needs to clean their blood?
Yeah.
That would be me.
So if
Yeah,
if your mosquito reactions are,
like really like ridiculous.
yeah.
Yeah, it's usually a sign that your blood needs to be cleaned.
I know someone who just got stung and they had a reaction to the skin that I've never seen, where it was like these blisters that stuck out from the
Oh,
skin this much.
wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
So it'd be like, okay, give him the Apis, and
Mhm.
maybe lead him, you know.
Mhm.
But I would definitely look into, and that could be something where they come in, they look at them, and they go, "Yep, that's what it is,"
Gosh, it makes me
or
like
is it something else?
thinking about mosquitoes. Like imagine, like,
Right? Like what they're carrying.
right. I want to
Yeah.
look at what blood's inside them.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like what you get every time they. Mhm.
Oh, you mean like, yeah.
Yeah.
Instead of putting monkeys in cages, put mosquitoes in cages.
Yes.
Yeah. 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 It'd be interesting,
Yeah.
you know.
I follow Dr. Ed Group, and he was talking about some new microscope that they invested in that tells them what it is.
Oh.
Yes, it identifies.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm like,
So I think, what is that? That's a electron
I think so.
microscope.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I remember asking the people I trained with, and they said, number one, like I said, you're not going to catch. Typically, right? I had a couple of weird experiences. They were like, you're not going to catch them because the second that lancet, they're like, phew, they're gonna like take off running, right, to bury deeper into the tissues, right?
Oh,
And so
okay.
they said, so the likelihood of you catching them is not going to be there.
Oh.
Um, they're like, but if you did a dried sample, which where
Okay.
instead of taking one drop, because it's kind of cool. So you have the red ball,
Mm-hmm.
and then I'm like, don't move. I'm like, okay, now the slide, you just put it really close, and then you'll see the red blood. It'll like
Adhere to
jump
it.
up on
Okay.
the slide.
Uh-huh.
And so when you're doing the dried blood, you get, well, as many as you can. You kind of move the slide down. So it's
Okay.
almost like you're creating like rings on a tree.
Okay.
And then it'll almost show you the body over the years.
Whoa.
Yeah. And I haven't done a lot of those.
This makes me want to sign up for the dried blood one because that's an option too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh.
But here's the thing that I'm noticing. I'm digressing, so make sure I come back to this if I forget. But people are not bleeding a lot. So it's hard. To me, it's harder getting that sample when you're not supposed to be milking
Yeah.
that finger, and people are not. So to me, it's really showing we are not getting our nutrients. And I don't want you bleeding all over the place, right? Because then it's like, okay, why isn't the blood clotting?
Mm-hmm.
Right? But I find that more people are not assimilating their nutrients. I think it's a real problem.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I laugh and I go, well, ever since cavemen discovered fire, right? We started cooking everything. Well, there went our enzymes.
Yeah.
And I'm just as guilty as everybody else. Growing up, I mean, what was this thing called the microwave when we were in fifth grade? I mean, woo, we had a microwave, and that's the coolest thing ever. And we're cooking things, and you're throwing things out on the grill at summertime, and this is just what we do.
Mm-hmm.
But we're killing the enzymes. Yeah. I mean, I remember it wasn't very long. We had a cow that my mom was milking, but they still sent it away to clean it up. So in other words, to what? To kill the enzymes.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
To pasteurize it, the enzymes. And it's just one of those things where you're like, okay, well, our body needs these enzymes. They are the catalyst, the little cattle prods for every single reaction in our body. And like I said, without them, forget the minerals, forget the vitamins, forget the hormones.
Mm-hmm.
And here we are killing them, and we're putting all this stress in our digestive system and our pancreas. And I think, if our pancreas could talk, it would be like, you know what, I'm done. I'm done.
Ready to
Like
pack it up.
I'm supposed to be the backup crew.
Yeah.
And you have just asked and asked and asked,
Mm-hmm.
and I just can't do it anymore. I just can't keep, being first in line.
Mm-hmm.
Because then even think about when we eat, how many of us are taking the time to even eat mindfully.
Right.
I mean, fast food, right? I mean, it was always a special treat growing up because we
Right.
lived out in the country. So when dad brought home fast food, it was like, oh, best day ever.
Now
But
it's a special treat if mom cooks.
right.
That's like what standard is now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But the second, I remember always thinking digestion began in the mouth. And they said, no, it doesn't. It begins in the brain. And they were like, think about it. The second that you're like, oh, what's for dinner tonight?
You salivate.
You start thinking, yeah. And then you're like, oh my gosh, I can't wait to eat. Fill in the blank. You're like, oh, right. All that saliva is just filled with enzymes, just waiting.
Prepared.
Yeah. But they say that, so okay, we're driving by. I won't name any fast food chain by name. But you look at the logo and you're like, oh, that logo means salty French fries. Oh, I could use some salt. I could use some fat. That's what the body says. Because we need those to live. But then there we go, driving through. And it goes, well, I didn't mean that kind of salt.
Right.
I didn't mean that kind of fat. But because our body is starved for these nutrients, I mean, I know, I'm like, hey, I can drive by shoving those fries in. You know what I mean? And we do feel that sense of relief until the body starts to digest it or whatever and goes, no, wrong. You did the wrong thing, right? So our bodies, by the time we have went, oh, look, logo, drive through, get it, it's gone. That is not enough time for us to digest that food. Yeah, because they say it takes at least 20 minutes from here to here.
Wow.
At least 20 minutes. To really say like, okay, it's for the body to signal and say, great, thanks for the food, we're good. And I know if and that's not to say you're never going to see me in a fast food line, or look, there are times you go on the road, right? We're on a road trip, and sometimes you're like, ooh, spend 6 hours, I need to eat, can you wrap that up in lettuce? And, and then there are other times where you're like, I'm tired. This is life. But yeah, I mean, just all of that, we're just losing that body's ability to create what it needs on its own. Yeah. So.
Yeah, I've been, this past year, I've been using Red Light. I go to this Pacific Sun and Wellness. They originally started as a tanning salon, but now they've branched into other wellness things, right? And so I was in the winter, I was regularly going, and I noticed my joint inflammation was going down, especially after that was shortly after what happened to my dad, and so I just was depleted completely. And I noticed a difference if I go do 15 minutes of that Red Light.
Okay.
I'm able to flex muscles that I didn't have the strength to flex before, and I'm like, I don't know anything else that is doing that.
Yeah.
But then when all the research you learn about the EMFs that can come off of the red light devices. So I'm like, at what point is it no longer helping?
Okay.
So after learning about the EMF risks with certain red light devices, you need to have yourself 6 inches from the panel to avoid getting the EMFs.
Okay.
And so this one that they have is one that you lay down on. So my whole back is on it.
Okay.
And then, but anyways, so I stopped doing it. And then I'm noticing, okay, I'm dealing with this joint pain again, whatnot. So I go back to doing it. But I'm like, if I did a live blood analysis, that would I think get rid of my concern. Is this EMF actually helping me, or is it not?
Right. Yeah, it's interesting. I'll have to ask this doctor that I'm kind of working with. I guess he's my mentor. So here's what's so interesting. I have a box waiting for me at home in my foyer. I just had a brand new laser system sent to me.
Nice.
And so when I purchased my biofeedback machine, they sent a pen light with the red laser, and it looks like something you'd use to torment your cat with. And it was but they have a system that they use. So my biofeedback machine allows me not only to scan people,
Mm-hmm.
but then whatever shows up as a stressor to then process it, and we send it back to them. So it's the way that this doctor described it to me, because he created this system. He's like this mad genius.
Nice.
And he said, imagine that there's like your nervous system is like a dresser, and it's filled with all these drawers. And right now, you open up one of the little drawers, and it goes, ah, cheese, whatever it is, He's like, well, what we do is we energetically send that frequency back to them. Calm down. We're going to rewire you. We're just going to rewire you to just start that healing process to say it's okay.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to work on this, so that your body can heal.
Is this Solex? No. Okay.
Yeah, it's actually the company I went through was it's called IHT, International Health Technologies. That's what it stands for. It was an investment. But so he sent me, and then the third thing that it lets me do is provoke. So, and there's a lot of them out there that will let you do this. But say, for example, you're like, oh, okay, I'm seeing enough things on here. Does this person need enzymes? And you can put it on the test plate, and you just essentially select the stressors, and then you run that particular enzyme, and it will change the numbers, and it will say, yes, this is a product that can help me, or don't waste your money.
Okay.
And that was another game changer for me, because there's a million different companies, there's a million different, and we can look and go, okay, why does your vitamin D have caramel color? Okay, that one's no good. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But what about these other 12 options that are available? And so just being able to put that, and there are times that I'm like, nope, you're not taking that home. And they're like, what? And I'm like, no, you're not buying that. That's not going to help you. It's not worth your money.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. And there are times I'm like, okay, third try, fourth try, what, And again, it keeps me humble.
Yeah.
Because I always have, just when you're like, oh, I know what you need.
Right.
And then you're like, oh, that's not what you need. Okay, hang on, I gotta go back and think about what they need. But so it allows me to do that.
Mm-hmm.
So then following that, when I'm processing them, because everything he works with acupuncture points.
Okay.
And so we take the red pen.
Ooh.
And we just hit certain acupuncture points. And we'll go through the colon. It always starts, okay, so we start with the governing meridian.
Mm-hmm.
And so we do passes through that. And we're doing different things with our eyes open, their eyes closed. And then we move over to the colon, we do the liver. And it's just helping that body to just sort of open up and to accept.
So the red light is just acting as a frequency to signal to the meridians to allow.
Yes, because red is stimulating.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of like, charge, let's go, let's begin this healing process.
Nice.
Yeah, and it's and there have been, and for everything you think, come on, this looks like something my cat would play with, because can this really work?
Mm-hmm.
I'm telling you, I would have my son. I would go, okay, I know you don't know what you're doing, but just like put it over my ear, because there's all these acupuncture points in there.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, just kind of put it on my ear, and you're like, okay, I swear this is not placebo. This is doing something.
Yeah.
I can feel something in my body. I had people who would come in with knee pain, and I'd say, well, let's give it a shot.
Mm-hmm.
Like this is new. Let me do this. And they would say, oh, look at this. It still kind of hurts. They're like, but like 1,000 times better.
Wow.
And
yeah.
it wouldn't, it wouldn't hurt as much for like three days. They weren't hobbling around, which gave us time to kind of come in and support the body however it needed to. Craziest thing. So I told you menopause, right? It's I thought, again, humbling. I thought, oh, I got rid of my hot flashes within a month. I was like, whatever, menopause, Well, like we're talking like a year and a half later, with the stress of the move, within 1 week, I was like, why can't I button my pants? Why can't I move my arm? They refer to it as like menopause shoulder. Oh, forget about menopause shoulder. It was my entire arm.
It was like numb.
It was like we're dead. it wasn't necessarily numb, but it was like, ow, like to the point where people are like, really? I'm like, it hurts. Couldn't even move the thing. This went on for like 3 days.
Oh man.
And I was trying different oils and, ointments and all this stuff. And I was like, what in the world am I going to do? Like, this is crazy. And I happened to walk by my desk and I looked at my pen and I thought, well, it's worth a shot.
Yeah.
And I sat there and I was muscle testing. Okay, what parts of my body needs this? And because it was awkward, I finally said to one of my daughters, I said, hey, wherever I tell you, just like, okay, shine it here. And it was like, oh, this is hurting. This is hurting. This is getting in there. Ow. And I'm like, okay, move it here, move it here. When we got done, I went like this. I was like, oh my gosh. I was like, you gotta be kidding me. It completely loosened up my arm.
That.
And the next day I got up and I was like, this thing is like 95% better. So there is, I don't know everything there is to know. Like, I'll have to ask him about the whole EMF connection. I'm really curious now.
Yeah.
There has to be something there that they, where they've done the research.
Yeah.
Because I know, like, the chromotherapy in my sauna, that was always interesting too, because it had panels on it and they were definitely red, but they sold like a different red
Spectrum?
system. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
They sold like a different thing.
Yeah.
So I don't think that was what it was meant for. But even with the different colors in the sauna, there are some where you're like, oh, your body is sore. Here, go in there and change it to like a light blue to help the muscle cells regenerate. Oh, you just need to be calm. Put it on yellow. Orange was for, I think, like fat burning. And I thought, again, this is me. Yeah, okay.
Right.
Sure. And I remember I put it on red because I would go in there and I would do these experiments. I'm like, yeah, let's put it on red, stimulating. Yeah, let's see.
Right.
Guess who didn't sleep that night? Oh, I got out of work. I was like,
you're like, I'm
alive. I got all this energy. I was like, okay, we're not going to do that again. I'm like, it works. So yeah, this new system that I got in, it's all the colors. So it's the yellow, it's the green, it's the blue, and he is sending me protocols to use.
Oh, nice.
And I was like, hey, you forgot to send me the protocols. He's like, hey, buy the system first. I was like, oh, you're right. Okay. So yeah, it's literally in a box, and I bought some little tripod. I can put it right on my desk, and so that as we're working on other things, I can even have it, shining on the person and doing different things. So once again, that's what I'm saying. I'm never going to be done learning about how this body can heal. It's going to be really cool.
I have a set of those chromotherapy glasses, like lenses.
Okay. Oh, yeah.
That you like switch out.
Yes, and the lights.
Yeah.
Okay.
And when I got those, I didn't know what I was doing. I was like, oh, this is cool. And I remember I brought it to class because I would struggle to stay focused.
Okay.
Like with ADD or whatever. And so once I started getting antsy and bored, I would switch color. It like satisfied my whatever.
Well, where were you putting them?
On my, it comes with the glasses, and you interchange the lens color.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh, I thought you were talking almost like like when you go into like a movie studio.
Oh,
like those lights,
right?
Because like at the one school, she had a system, and it was like the lights are shining down on you, and then you could change the lights. Interesting.
Yeah.
Like eyeglasses.
Yeah. And it kept me. I was like, this is fun.
So did you put in the red to like?
Oh yeah.
Okay. Oh
yeah.
Okay.
I would just like let my intuition kind of select it.
Okay.
And then over time, the girls I was sitting next to, they realized that their normal glasses, these lenses can hook onto them. So they start doing it too, and all of a sudden we're noticing we're like way more focused.
Now, do you put the blue on like at night, like if you're watching TV or anything? Will that help? Is it the same premise? Blocking out the.
Right. That one wouldn't, from my understanding of doing research when it comes to those lenses, it probably wouldn't.
Okay.
I would think maybe you'd have to look at the color wheel and do whatever is the opposite of blue to counteract that.
Okay.
I don't really know.
I know. Because I know they sell the glasses.
Yeah.
Like good old, Amazon will sell these glasses. And I'm like, will those really work?
Yeah. I think that because there's the blue light glasses that are clear.
Okay.
Those will only, from my understanding, those will only block a certain spectrum of blue. And since there's like
Okay.
a block long of spectrum, it's not going to get all of them. So you do need the ones that are the tinted yellow or orange for,
Okay.
I think that's for like the daylight, and then nighttime is when they switch to the red, like once the sun goes down. But
So are these glasses like something you'd wear out in public?
no, I mean, like I could, I would,
Right.
but
Yeah.
it's like, do I feel like people looking at me? I mean, I have.
Yeah.
I've worn them at the airport.
Yeah.
I don't care about what's going on there, but yeah.
So which color did you put in the airport?
I just did red.
Red.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Actually, they probably thought I was a freak. I had the red glasses on, and then I had my red light bracelet. It like shines red right at these veins.
Okay.
And this guy next to me is like, "What's going on with the red light?"
Yeah.
It's like, yeah.
Interesting. Okay, so wait a minute. So what is it? What is this? What does it do here?
So you wear the red light bracelet. After
Yeah.
45 minutes, basically all of your blood has flown through that vein. So it's targeting basically all your blood. Yeah. And then if you think about it, it's on the Chinese meridian.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
For your, I think your heart.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, because this is where people tend to put their watches.
Smartwatches. Yeah.
And we're always like, no,
Right.
just take it off. Like, move it over here. It's not that big of a deal to do this.
Mhm.
And well, smartwatches, I think, even just like a regular watch,
Yeah.
you know, is bad enough.
Right.
Then
Then you add the EMF on top of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, so see, we have to do an experiment.
Ooh.
We have to do some kind of experiment where we look at blood,
Yeah.
and then you put your red laser thing
Yeah.
on your wrist.
Yes.
Then we go, okay, now what?
Then we look at the blood.
Yeah, and then we look at
Yeah.
the blood. You gotta get poked twice.
Right.
You gotta poke yourself. You know, but
I'll do
that'd be
it.
kind of neat.
Take one for the team.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. Because I'm telling you, we've noticed things. So I saw videos out there about sound baths
Yes.
and live blood, and I was sitting there watching the videos, and I knew somebody who was doing sound therapy at the time, and we were like, "Oh, we have to try this.
Yeah.
Let's kind of see, you know, what happens." And I did see a difference for sure.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't see enough. Like it wasn't, you know what I mean? Like you need more
Yeah.
than one person.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. For a
To
study.
really, you know, look and see what the difference is. Because it did look like, okay, I looked at it and I was like, okay, looks, you know, because at that point I've been working on stuff. So it's like, all right, my blood looks pretty good. And then when we went back, it looked like my white blood cells were like ginormous moons.
Ooh.
And I was like, what's going on? Like, and I'm still not really sure. Like, I have to like sit back and think about that.
Yeah.
You know, like, I don't know. Is that a good? Is that a? Do you know what I mean? Like, is that a healthy? I don't know. You know.
Yeah.
There was another time when we did it where it looked like I had a lot of like red blood cells dying, and I was like, interesting. Was it kind of like clearing out the
losers, the weak
yeah,
guys?
yeah, like, well, we were gonna keep you around for another
You guys
couple of
are out.
months, but you know what? Now we've had help, and your time has come. Go away.
Yeah.
You know. So I've had different things, you know, but like I said, just haven't done it enough. You know, to and I've also I think it all depends on the sound therapy too.
Right.
Like, what are you? Because listen, you know, I don't know if you've taken the famous class yet, where they really teach you how to research. Like, you really get in and they teach you like how to research. Like, okay, so there was this study done.
Like how to read clinical studies. And,
Yeah, like you're not reading the abstract.
Mhm. Right.
No.
That's where they get you.
Yeah. You know,
Yeah.
read the study and like, who were the people? How many people were involved? What prescriptions were they perhaps taking, or what was their health history? How long? You know what I mean? All of this stuff. Who funded it? Right?
Mm-hmm.
And so if that's what I'm expecting from other people, well, then I have to do the same. Right?
Mm-hmm.
And so for me to sit there, it's like, you know, we were all over the place. Like, okay, do your thing.
Right.
Do your thing, sound person. You know what I mean? Well, what were they doing? You know what I mean? You
Mhm.
really would have to do, like I said, look at a group of people who are coming through that.
Right.
And then go, okay, you know, and making sure that it was a certain control.
Yeah, I have sound bowls, and Dr. Shannon Smith, she's local. We did an experiment where I have this brainwave measuring device. So I had her lay down and I did a sound bowl session, and we recorded her brain waves. And as soon as I started playing the bowls, all of her brain waves like got together and aligned, and
Oh, that's so cool.
it was really cool to see, yeah, kind of see the science behind it.
Yeah.
What it was doing in that way.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes. Because that's the thing. I mean, sometimes these things are so beautiful to see. Like I remember I was doing biofeedback on this woman, and so as you're doing it, like the signal's going in, and so depending on if I hit somebody who's just not feeling good, it's like this really low level of energy, and there are some people who come in and they can't even do the scan because they are so tapped out,
so depleted.
and so I will like have to like put my hands on them just to send them energy because there's like an electrode,
Okay.
and it's like, okay, I just got to give you some energy to help you get through this, right? And so her energy was on the lower side, and I said, "What's going on?" I said, "You usually come in here." She was a Reiki master, and I said, "You usually come in here. You've got nice, strong energy." And she's like, "I know." She said, I'm just really sad today." I said, "What's going on?" She goes, "I just miss my mom. I know it's been however many years." She said, "But I'm missing my mom."
Get that.
And without a beat, all of a sudden, whoo, this frequency starts going up. And I looked at her and I said her name and I said, "I think Mama's here."
Ooh.
I was like, oh, talk about goosebumps.
Yeah.
I was like, and she stopped and because she was crying and she goes, "You're right. I think she is here." And it was like, and it stayed high the whole time. And then all of a sudden she goes, "I'm good now, Mom." And and it like stabilized. And I was like, that's crazy. So do I have any scientific proof? If somebody's listening to this and they want to nitpick, can they? Sure.
Right.
But it's just little things like that to me are really inspiring and just cool, because I mean, again, somebody came in and I was like, "Why is your energy like off the charts?" And she's just kind of looking at me. I said, "No, seriously, what did you do?" She's like, "I meditated before I came in here." And I was like, okay,
cute,
very neat.
Yeah.
Whereas if somebody comes in and they've just had a massage, they're like, "No, we can't do this," because they'll be so relaxed.
So the brainwave measuring device I have, it's for meditating. Like it teaches you how to do like guided meditations. And I've noticed like because it'll show like live time what's going on. So if you watch it, like as I'm taking these breaths that it tells me to take, my brain waves are like accelerate, and it really like shows you the power of the breath.
Yes.
Of what it does to the brain, and yeah, intentional breathing, and so fascinating.
That is so cool.
Yeah.
So do you like do like guided meditation and mindfulness with people?
No, but that's something I should do because we can, yeah.
Yeah, because think about all those people, to me, who should meditate? Everyone.
Literally.
Right? Like literally
Yeah.
everyone. But so many people struggle with, I can't turn my brain off. I can't turn my brain off.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay. Part of that too is because people will get in their head there's only one right way to meditate.
Right.
And there's
like, why don't I do it? Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But I'm wondering if, and then there's just still a lot of skeptics, like, oh, whatever. But I'm just wondering if there could be something out there where if they saw that.
Well, it solidified it for me. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, okay, this meditation stuff isn't just humbo jumbo. Like, I can't change my brain waves any other way than
right.
But it's doing these deep breathing and whatnot.
Yeah, and so it'd almost be like, okay, the experiment is we've got somebody who's like, "I'm a Reiki master, I'm all in," and then you get somebody who's like, "This is a bunch of whatever," and just to see, because I know I get people with the biofeedback, like, I even just did this upgrade to my system, and because when I initially do it, so it prints out a color coded report, and the doctor, the same doctor, right, who created it, he's like, I wish I had never used color. People focus on that. And we're all like, no, the color's amazing because it will sort of divide it into these colors where it'll say, help, I give up. I need your help in these areas. And then other colors where it's basically like, if you could help me here, I got the rest.
Okay.
So it really helps again, triangulation.
Mm-hmm.
We're at this point, there's 7 different ways that we've kind of seen where the body's going. So we're like, okay, if we focus on this. But I will tell you the reason I went with this system as opposed to other biofeedback machines is because this is how they sold me. I said, I don't want my system to be hooked up to product that I have.
Yeah.
I have a moral issue with that.
Yeah, I get that. Mm-hmm.
And look, the one that I truly think kind of helped me, like, save my life, got this whole thing going, was hooked up, to product. And I felt a little like, oh, once I realized that. Because I feel like there's so many products out there and I want to customize everything I do to that individual. So I feel like that's a bit cheap, to do that. So one, my system isn't like that at all. It has, I don't even know, thousands of products in the system, and then I can put whatever I want, on that test plate. But it'll have things on there where so the woman said to me, she said, you have to use your brain with this scan. You have to be trained to use the system. And I'm like, sold. Because I love getting in there, and I said, mad scientist pulling things apart. So I'm sitting there, and there are times where I'm like, I don't even know what that is. What is that? And then I'm like, oh, it's a cell receptor on the adrenal medulla. Oh, what? I'm like, okay. All right. Now we can move forward. Do you know what I mean? But it's not like, here, give them this essential oil because that's what we happen to sell. Right. So